The UK population is on course to rise by nearly 16 million by 2046 at present levels of net migration, a report by think tank Migration Watch UK has found.
The report suggests that if net migration continues at the current levels and the birth rate of about 1.53 births per woman remains roughly the same, the population will increase to between 83 and 87 million by 2046. Well, we're joined now by the chairman of Migration Watch, Alp Mehmet. Morning to you today. So, Alp, these are shocking figures here. I think there's one thing we can all agree on. These figures are all too high. Do we have a bit of an excuse this year with the people who we've been letting in, whether it was from Afghanistan, whether it was from Ukraine? Is there a bit of a distortion there in your figures then?
Well, even if you were to take out the numbers from Ukraine, the numbers from Hong Kong, you're still talking about around 450,000 people. And that in itself is huge and will mean population growing by a great deal more, probably around 80 million, growing to about 80 million. That's 16 million more than we've got now, 13, 14, 15 million more than we have at the moment. So really, the point is that with net migration at its current levels, even if it were to fall slightly, and I don't see that happening, frankly, for a number of reasons, including the very loose points-based system that is in place. If it were to happen, we are still talking about massive increases in population and a massive increased need for things like housing. That is what we're saying.
I mean, I think we can all agree that immigration levels are too high. They're unsustainable, that it puts a massive amount of pressure, as you say, on housing, on public services. I don't think many people would disagree with that. I guess the question is, what's the solution to the problem? The government used to have an intention to get the numbers down to the tens of thousands. What would you like to see them do? Would you like to see them enshrine maybe that target of no more than 100,000 in law and actually have a hard target, or would that be too severe and wouldn't be flexible enough?
Well, it's up to people like you, Philip. It's up to you, Esther. The fact is that net migration at current levels is going to prove catastrophic in all sorts of ways. Having less than 100,000 people coming in net, that's not the numbers actually coming in. That's net, taking away the people who are going to leave. That will immediately reduce the rate of population growth. And ultimately, it will mean fewer houses will be needed and fewer pressures on the NHS and the rest of it. That's a fact.
Alp, were you pleased to see today that the EU have come together with a response, with a proposal to cut back these migration numbers after years of talking about it?
Well, let's wait and see what the EU actually does. I think that they were focusing as much as anything on illegal migration rather than legal migration, which is what I'm talking about. Legal migration, which is running at, 10 times and more the rate at which we're having illegal migration in the country.
So are you
so much more important.
So are you concerned then with the changes that Suella Braverman is going to introduce to get down the backlog of people on waiting lists? She's going to change the Priti Patel format to separate out illegal from legal. She's going to make them all legal, viewed as legal, so they can get through the backlog quicker. Are you a bit worried about that?
It's not a case of being worried. I think it's a nonsense, and it just shows weakness in the government. What it's effectively saying is, it's okay, however you come, we're going to let you stay. And that is not what people in this country, as you know better than I do, Esther, that is not what people in this country want. The fact is that it's being done in order to reduce the backlog, and it's an amnesty in anything but name. That's wrong.